Now, Monday saw hundreds and thousands of Trump supporters turn Milwaukee red. Amid slogans, chants and thundering applause, Donald J. Trump entered the forum with his ear bandaged. The Republicans have made Trump their official presidential nominee, and the former U.S. president has found his running mate in J.D. Vance. Here's a quick report on what went down on day one of the Republican National Convention.
Donald Trump drew cheers during the first night of the Republican National Convention on Monday, 2 days after a would-be assassin grazed his right ear with a bullet. Trump entered the Milwaukee venue with a bandaged ear as GOP delegates and faithful stood with a roaring ovation. Many chanted "fight, fight, fight" and pumped their fists, referencing Trump's reaction in the moments after he was wounded on Saturday at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. The former president mouthed the words "thank you" to the crowd before shaking hands with his freshly picked running mate, U.S. Senator J.D. Vance, next to him.
Our nominee for the 47th President of the United States.
Trump is due to formally accept the party's nomination in a primetime speech on Thursday to face Democratic President Joe Biden in the November 5th election, while Vance is scheduled to address the convention on Wednesday.
For the office of Vice President of the United States, Senator J.D. Vance.
The 39-year-old was a fierce Trump critic in 2016, but he has since become one of the former president's staunchest defenders, embracing Trump's false claims that the 2020 election was marred by widespread fraud. The Ohio senator is deeply popular with Trump's core supporters, but analysts have questioned whether he can broaden the ticket's appeal. He shares Trump's aggressive approach to politics, and his conservative statements on issues such as abortion could turn off moderate voters. The 4-day convention began less than 48 hours after a gunman opened fire at the outdoor rally, killing one supporter. The 20-year-old suspect was a registered Republican. He was shot dead at the scene, and his motive remains unclear.
The chaos and voices outside the RNC venue were just as loud. Thousands of protesters had gathered to demonstrate against the RNC taking place in the city. According to reports, over 3,500 people marched through the streets of Milwaukee, holding posters and chanting slogans condemning Trump and his policies. Leading the protests were activists and organizations that spearhead women's rights and immigration issues across America.
I knew I had to come here. Women's rights need to be taken back. Our country is being threatened with someone who committed treason and his followers, and we have to get our country, keep our country safe the way it is now.
As day two of the ongoing RNC takes off, a slew of speakers are expected to take the podium today. Among the big names are Nikki Haley, who is expected to address the delegates in prime time. The former South Carolina governor was one of Trump's fiercest critics and the last presidential candidate standing against Trump to back down from the race. Meanwhile, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is also expected to speak at the convention today, as is Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who lost the vice president nominee race to Vance on Monday. And for more on this, our correspondent Susan Tehrani is joining us live from New York. Susan, good to see you as always. We know that Donald Trump is the Republican Party's presidential nominee finally, and he has picked J.D. Vance. What's to come in the next 2-3 days?
Yeah, as you mentioned, we are going to be hearing from Nikki Haley. We're going to be hearing from Ron DeSantis. The theme today at the RNC is Make America Safe Again. And we are expected also to hear from ordinary Americans, notably those who have been a victim of crime committed by illegal migrants here in the United States. So a lot will be talked about, not only regarding how to keep Americans safe, but we're also told that the Jewish American community has been facing a lot of threats, and that's going to be an aspect that's going to be discussed as well. So that's for today. And then, of course, Thursday is Donald Trump's big speech and ultimately the culmination of the Republican National Convention. But I think right now all eyes are going to be on not only the former president and how he's recovering from that assassination attempt, but also J.D. Vance. He is really a rising star in the Republican Party, and there is going to be a lot of momentum after he was named vice president nominee for the Trump campaign.
All right, Susan, thank you so much for getting us all those updates from New York. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.